I think of health and performance, so mental health, physical health, and performance along, fundamentals. You talk about these all the time. I think the 5 pillars, if you will, are sunlight, if I may, getting light in your eyes.
Yeah.
Avoiding too frequent bright light exposure in your eyes at night, unless you're doing something you really enjoy. Okay, so you're doing comedy. You're out past 10 p.m., right? You're not going to wear sunglasses or something necessarily. Yep. So sunlight during the day, morning and day, and trying to limit bright light exposure at night as much as is normally possible. Then I would say movement. So you got to move, cardiovascular and resistance training. That's one of the beautiful things I think that's happened in the last couple of decades is that resistance training is no longer just considered the thing that football players and bodybuilders do. Right. Everyone, old, young, female, male. Yeah. Women no longer, I hope, are concerned about getting quote unquote too big from weightlifting or something or turning into a bodybuilder.
I think that's kind of gone away.
I like to think that's gone away.
Most women realize that the only reason why women do get too big is they take exogenous hormones. Yeah. They're taking steroids.
Yeah, you throw a bunch of Anavar in there, you get the square jaw. And
that's what they want to avoid. Yeah. But women who don't do that and who lift weights regularly look way better.
They look way better, and our friend Peter Attia, has talked about one of the major causes of death later is, falls due to stepping down off things. Inability to hang from a bar is, correlated with lack of health, right, in men and women. So being able to have some strength. So exercise, then nutrients, right? Macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. People now think about it. So you need all that stuff, vitamins, minerals, and then the other stuff. And then I think in addition to that, sleep. 10 years ago, everyone was like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Now we know you're probably not going to dissolve into a puddle of your own tears from a couple of bad nights' sleep every once in a while, but sleep makes you mentally, physically better. You perform better. And then the last one is this whole, not notion, it's social connection, right? You can't stay isolated constantly or people lose their minds.
Yeah.
So when you look at people that get very depressed or they're suicidal, one or several of those 5 things is going to be diminished. And then what happens is people hear about deliberate cold exposure, and if they don't like it or they want to poke at it, they say, oh, it blocks hypertrophy. Okay, well, only if you do it in the 4 to 6 hours after a hypertrophy workout.
I thought it was 2.
Well, they've looked immediately after, again.
Immediately after is bad. So if you work out, but you can do it after cardio, right?
Yeah.
Like the only time I do it right after workouts is after I do generally I do a really hard cardio workout, and then I'll do the sauna for 25 minutes, and then I'll do the cold plunge. I'll end with the cold plunge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that
that's okay, right?
Right. I mean, it lowers inflammation, which is what you want from the resistance training.
Right.
And so in terms of deliberate cold exposure, people like to say, oh, it doesn't burn much fat, it blocks hypertrophy. But if you look at the mental benefits of having your catecholamines, dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine, systemically elevated to 2 to 3x for 4 to 6 hours after a 30-second to 3-minute protocol, you're not going to show me a drug or a form of exercise that can do that.
For me, the best thing for sleep is sauna. Mm-hmm. Like sauna pre-sleep is amazing.
Well, do you know why that is?
Why is that?
It's really interesting. When you heat the surface of your body, you would think, my whole body temperature is getting really hot. But if I were to measure your core body temperature, what happens is your medial preoptic nucleus of the hypothalamus says, oh, the surface of my body is really hot. I'm going to cool down my core temperature. And falling asleep at night requires a 1 to 3 degree drop in bodily temperature. And when you wake up in the morning, you have a 1 to 3 degree increase in bodily temperature in the morning. That triggers a cortisol spike. That triggers norepinephrine. And then you start waking up. So body temperature and the ability to fall asleep and stay asleep and wake up are very tightly correlated. But your whole circadian rhythm is temperature driven. And so, for instance, you probably have a best time of day for you to work out where you feel best. You probably, if I were to have you train at 2 a.m. when you went to bed at a couple hours before, you'd feel miserable. You're not going to perform as well. Grip strength in the middle of the night. I wake you up, I take your grip strength measurement. It's going to be strong, but not as strong as it would be at your peak time during the day. If we looked at your body temperature, we'd find that your grip strength is weakest when your body temperature is lowest. So you'd say, well, I'm asleep. That's why. But there's an easy experiment. This has been done. We just keep you awake for 24 hours. We measure your body temperature. It has a very regular circadian rhythm. That persists. And we measure grip strength. That's been done numerous times. People living in caves, they've done those experiments.
Have they done experiments where people do the sauna and then work out?
You won't be able to thermoregulate anymore. and then your body temperature will go up and you can become hyperthermic.
So when you are in the sauna and it's 210 degrees and you're sweating like a pig, your body temperature is lower?
Your core body temperature is fighting to get lower. And when you get out, your core body temperature continues to go down.
It plummets.
That's right. And the exact opposite happens when you get in the cold plunge.